Okay, the lighthouse has no significance. It's just there to keep the camera from going out of focus. But now that I'm here, it'll probably focus about the way it should. Okay, now here's going to learn how to draw a few simple pictures. Okay, first picture is a picture of a rectangle. Now I can make this rectangle as high or as long as I want, but I'm choosing to make it a square for this example. Okay. Now, first thing I'm going to do with this rectangle is I'm going to divide it in half with a vertical line. Then I've divided it into two halves. I'm going to divide each half into halves by another vertical line. And I'm going to do the same thing on the left side. Okay, that was pretty simple. So we need to understand that we do this, and when we do, we get equally spaced lines. The distance from this line to this line is pretty close to the same as the distance from this line to this one, from this one to this one, or from this one to this one. And that's the purpose of halfway. People can judge halfway. With a little practice, you can get as good at this, at least as good as I am. You probably get a lot better. Okay, so that's one way we could divide a rectangle. We'll see where this is going a little bit later. Now I can do the same thing. I divide the rectangle in half. And I divide each of these halves in half. Okay, now when I divided the right half in half, I could think of going halfway from the right edge to the middle, right? This line is halfway from the right edge to the middle. And this line is halfway from the left edge to the middle. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these last two lines that I've made, and I'm going to go halfway from each of them to the middle. So I'm going to go halfway from this line to the middle and halfway from this line to the middle. You engage yourself a little bit by imagining what that's going to look like, and then see if you were right. Well, you probably imagine something a little more accurate than what I just did, but there is a line about halfway between this line and the middle, and then halfway from here to the middle. And we notice that these lines are no longer equally spaced the way they were here, because of course, these lines are twice as close to one another as these two. And these two are twice as close to one another as these two. And they're actually 4 times as close to one another as these. Okay, you should understand that. But mainly learn to draw it and draw it reasonably accurately so the scale stays about right. These should be about twice as close to each other as these, and so forth. Now we could continue this process. We generally don't with the vertical lines, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, so there's the middle. It's a little too close to this edge, but it's not too bad, so I'm going to live with it. Okay, so there's a line that's supposedly in the middle, and I'll go halfway from the left edge to the middle. And then I'm going to go halfway from there to the middle. And then I'm going to go halfway from there to the middle. And then I'm going to try to go halfway from there to the middle, but it's getting pretty narrow in there. It's kind of getting everything squeezed together. It's going to be a little bit hard for you to see. You understand that there's a limit to how far we can go with a piece of chalk. And even if you have a very fine point pen or very fine pointed pencil, there's a limit to how many times you can repeat this. So halfway from the left edge to the middle, halfway from there to the middle, halfway from there to the middle, then attempted to go halfway from there to the middle. That didn't work out very well. But with care and a straight edge, you could actually do a pretty good job of it. Okay, well, then I'm going to do the same thing on the left side. Halfway from the left to the middle. Halfway from there to the middle. halfway from there to the middle. And I'm not even gonna attempt, well, yeah, I'll attempt and see, okay, halfway from there to the middle. That's working out kind of okay, that's, as soon as I said that, it got really bad. Okay, so now we generally, with our constructions in this course, don't go beyond this with the vertical lines. Okay, now we can do similar things with horizontal lines. So I could start over here again. And I could go middle, halfway from the upper edge to the lower edge or in the middle, okay? And then on each side, I could go halfway to the middle. And then from there, halfway to the middle. And then from the lower edge, halfway to the middle. And from there, halfway to the middle. Okay? So that's one way of dividing with horizontal lines. And this is just the same as this, except over on its side. Okay? You probably saw the similarity between what I did here and what I did here. We say there's a symmetry between what we did here and what we did here. Now, there's another thing that we do with horizontal lines. It's kind of similar to some of what we did over here, but let's just have them draw a square or a rectangle. And we go to the middle, which is, of course, halfway from the upper edge of the square to the lower edge. Then we're going to go halfway from there to the lower edge. We're not going to go from here to the middle. We're going to go from here to the lower edge. So halfway from here to the lower edge is here. Then halfway from here to the lower edge is here. And halfway from here to the lower edge is here. And halfway from here to the lower edge is here. And if I've done this correctly, this distance will be twice as big as this distance, which is twice as big as this distance, which is twice as big as this distance. Okay. So there we have it. Basically, two ways of dividing the thing vertically, two ways of dividing it horizontally. We don't really do this. Okay. So I'm going to kind of wave that out. Now, what we do is we could do this division. Okay. This. And then we're going to do this one. Halfway from the upper edge to the middle to the lower, halfway from there to the lower edge, halfway from there to the lower edge, halfway from there to the lower edge. Okay, let's say that would be 2, 1. Yep. Okay, and that's sufficient. Now you notice that we made 1, 2, 3, 4 lines here. Okay. And we made, actually, I'm going to use some terminology here. I'm going to there are 4 horizontal lines because the upper edge and the lower edge are horizontal lines. But I'm going to call these dotted lines construction lines. So I'm going to say there are 4 horizontal construction lines. And you know, that's kind of smudgy. Let's make it pretty. Okay, so And we've got two horizontal edge lines that I could call the upper and lower edge. But, okay, then we have how many vertical construction lines? 3. Vertical construction lines. Okay. Now there's another one where we do 5 horizontal construction lines. We add another horizontal construction line down here. And we'll see how that works. But right now, let's just get this much done. Okay. The other construction that we often make is this one. Same as this one. Middle, halfway from the left edge to the middle is here, halfway from there to the middle is here. And that's the right edge, halfway from the right edge to the middle. Okay, and then middle's here, halfway from the left edge to the middle is here, halfway from there to the middle is here. This has 5 vertical lines. And then we're going to do horizontal construction lines. Okay. Now I said we'd stick with 4 horizontal construction lines. I lied. Actually, we're going to do 5. Didn't know I was lying at the time, so maybe it wasn't really a lie. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5th one. It's 5 horizontal construction lines and 5 vertical construction lines. Okay, so it's a whole lot like this one, except we do one more line. Well, we do one more step, halfway from here to the middle and halfway from here to the middle, call that one step. Okay, so these are 2 of the 3 main constructions that we want to do. Okay. Now, another thing I do for both of these constructions, I put a red dot on the lower edge in the middle. So a lot of times, as soon as I make that first vertical line, I'll put a red dot there if I know that I'm going to do one of these 2. Okay, I said there was one more, but there's still one more. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one over here. Make sure I'm not blocking the board. Okay, here. You'll recognize what I'm doing. Same as this one. Not going to put a red dot here, but it's going to go to a different place because now I'm going to do this one. Okay. In other words, I'll do my middle, halfway from the top edge to the middle, halfway from there to the middle. Then halfway from the bottom edge to the middle, and halfway from there to the middle. Nice and symmetric. And it's so symmetric, I wouldn't want to mess it up by putting the red dot down here. I'm going to put the red dot right in the middle of the picture, where the 2 center lines cross. Okay. So this one is 5 vertical construction lines and I normally label them here. Uh, You're gonna be able to read that. So it's 5 horizontal construction lines. Okay, lost control of my chalk, not horizontal, but it says horizontal. With a modifier, I'm gonna say toward the center. Meaning that after we get the center point, everything goes toward the center. Okay, so from the upper edge toward the center, lower edge toward the center, and then from there toward the center, and from there toward the center, always halfway. Here, I'm gonna say, I've got 4 horizontal construction lines. Toward the lower edge. Because I started here, went halfway to the lower edge, halfway from there to the lower edge, halfway from there to the lower edge, halfway. But it got this one. And here I did an extra step. I went halfway again to the lower edge. So I have 5 horizontal construction lines. Toward the lower edge. Ultimately then, this picture, and this picture are going to be very fundamental for this in this course, because in this course, make sure you can see you can't see the whole board from there, but in this course, we're studying functions. And we're going to use these pictures to construct graphs of functions. Now, just a little more introduction, just a couple of typical shapes. We got parabolas. We got, that's kind of representing an exponential curve. We could have hyperbolic curves that look kind of like this. You got an x-axis and a y-axis here. Curves might look something like this. And others, one that looks like this, kind of like this, except, well, it's different way that you can see. And then we have one that kind of looks like this. Okay, those curves are really basic, and we're going to construct those curves by some rules that we'll get on the first day of class, and we'll practice, where we make these constructions. And then we follow a couple simple rules to make this picture, and this picture. We'll leave these 2 off for now, but once you learn to do these 3, the rules for these pictures will be very easy and obvious. So I'm recommending that, if you want to be ambitious, you can view this before the first day of class. Now, there's maybe a pretty good chance that because of the weather, we're going to miss our first day of class, in which you're going to be assigned to do this by second day of class, along with some other stuff that I'll put on a video. Right now, learn to do these. And when I say learn to do them, I don't mean learn to copy them, having them in front of you. I mean practice them until you can do them without having them in front of you anytime you need them, because you'll need them in pretty much every class all semester. Okay, so really pretty easy. If you practice drawing them 3 or 4 times, you can do it. And it probably won't take you any longer to learn to do it yourself than it took you to view the video. I will say, if I haven't seen your class already, that I am looking forward to seeing everybody, and hope we can make everybody successful in this class. It's my main goal.